go. Today on the Built for This podcast, I got a good homie, friend, a soldier in the space, and super honored and proud to watch him grow and to be sitting here with me right now, Michael Gonzales. And if you know Michael, man, you've seen him and you're going to see him now. And this show right here is going to be a cut that's different from everything. And it's going to the meaning of life and the path that, God is putting us down together. And his name, like I said, is Michael Gonzales. He's right here. And you want to tell everybody about who you are that doesn't know who you are right now?
First I want to say thank you for having me, man, because this right here, what we're doing is monumental to me. It means the world to me.
Yeah,
I've been coming through a field of just minefields, it seems like, for a long time now. So just being able to come here and talk to somebody, it's emotional.
Yeah.
Because what we're talking about is going to save lives. And the mission that I'm on in life is I help people because, that's what my calling has been. And so for me to be able to come here and be honest with everybody, it means the world to me. But it also means something that a lot of other people need, and it's hope, because green and clean is real to me. I'm what they call an interventionist in real life. That's my real-time job, and a lot of people know me from the show called Intervention on A&E, and that's where I kind of became known to the world, was by helping people, and I still do that. And I help people that struggle with drugs and alcohol, and that's where my face became public and known, because I carry the message of hope to people. And that's what I've done since my second chance at life. My life story is pretty difficult. I don't come from the same path that most people do. So, being on this podcast and being able to be transparent and talk about something that matters, that's near and dear to my heart, and the struggles that I've had in my life with sobriety. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do with my life is get sober, I've been fighting for my seat in the rooms of recovery for a long time, but I've also been, waiting for this moment to be able to come out and talk about stuff like this, because, without being transparent and honest on how I've been sober and been able to maintain freedom, I've not been able to tell the whole truth because of the stigma that's attached with it. It's a big stigma, and this stigma kills millions of people. And that's the thing, man. I want to do this because I know millions of people out there are just sitting in their rooms medicating, and they're able to function every day. And they have friends in the rooms of recovery who chastise people that smoke or medicate with edibles or do anything with medicinal purpose with THC. There's friends in the rooms of recovery that ostracize them and talk badly about people that use cannabis.
I'm one of them.
And I've never been able to be honest with anybody about it till you and a couple of close other friends that actually know me. And it's it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. People that are looking for recovery should be able to take every avenue that gets them to recovery. And they shouldn't be looked down upon for that, and the life that I come from and the life that I live now, it's only because of recovery. And I know that.
Facts.
It's because I got sober. It's because I decided to go against the grain of the lifestyle that I was brought up in, and stand up and become a voice and fight for something that means something to me. And here I am doing it again with you, and
integrity.
And it's something that I live by, and this podcast is more than a podcast to me, man. Like, this Built for This, I've manifested this moment in my life, between the hard work and getting sober, and then being able to walk through the journey of losing friends and losing family members and just downright bad behavior that comes towards us because of the things that we choose to do to be able to interact with other people. Because without this medicine. And it's medicine. Anybody that wants to challenge me on it, I'm good at debates, and I can debate with the best of them. This is medicine, and I've been medicating with medical marijuana all of my sobriety, and I'm proud of it. And my amends is what I'm doing now. That's the amends I owe. for not being honest, but it saved my life at the time. And I know that me and you talking about this right here, this is not a selfish. This is for everybody out there. This is not for me, because I could sit back and live my life and make the little money that I make and just go off into the sunset. But that's not me. I was put on this earth for a reason, man. And that's why when you called, when we started talking, man, Patrick, when we started talking, the first thing I thought about was, man, I remember looking at him in a magazine and I was locked up, and like, I remember thinking to myself, God, man, this guy, there's something about him. There's something about you, and I knew it in my heart. I was like, there's something about this guy. And here we are, and this is years later, and we're in the same room. And I've been cold calling you on Instagram for I don't know how many years, and that's the truth. Because you know what? God has been pulling me, and I don't know what everybody else's, beliefs are, but I choose to call it God, and God has put me in this moment with you. And it's purely to save lives.
Us. He put us in this moment. I want everybody out there to really understand, and this was the question I've been asking you for the last couple of weeks. Are you really ready for this? Because ready for this podcast today means you've decided to put your entire career on the line for somebody else.
That's right.
That's fucking powerful. Let's think about that. All right, this is a guy that I respect, I love, honor, cherish our relationship, everything about it. I'm a voice, green and sober. Everybody's heard me, over and over, and I put it all on the line then. I'm still putting it on the line now. But this guy he's already at the top, right? In recovery, he's made his legacy to where he is at today. And every time I call you, bro, and I'm asking you, are you ready? Like you're ready for this. Without fucking hesitation. Absolutely, yes, immediately. No thought process. And that tells me right there is that you're not a selfish man. Right? You're willing to fucking ride the gauntlet for others.
Absolutely.
That's 1% shit, honestly. Like, that's where that comes down to, right? And so it's an honor for me to be here with you. It's an honor for us to be talking. I've been coming out green and sober for years. There's a part of my life when, most people don't know the story. I'm going to go into it real, I went in my first recovery. I went to my first AA meeting at the age of 13 years old, homeless, cold, coffee was warm. A seed was planted from my older brother, Jeff King, and I call him my older brother, Kevin Lynch. Neither one of them are here with us. They were the wildest that led me down the trail of wreckage, and I watched them with a year clean, and I was homeless, and I felt like if, God could change their life, he could change mine. And I went into my first meeting, fear, scared, lonely, sat down, had a cookie and a cup of coffee, and I was in a room of people just like me. Mm-hmm. Nobody judged me. Nobody character assassinated me. People hugged me. Right? I was striving for attention in my life, like being homeless and a child. You just want somebody to love you.
Yep.
Rooms of Recovery gave me that. Right? And for those of you who know life happened. It went on. I had cannabis was already prevalent in my life then, and when I got out of prison later on in life, started a family, builder, developer, doing great things, and full-blown addict in recovery, and getting clean time, built 10 years up, had children, growing cannabis, starting cannabis, believing in cannabis, so afraid of what the rooms of recovery would do to me, so afraid that cannabis would be the one thing to take me back out the gate by 8, in the spoon by noon, back to the pen by 10.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because that's what I was taught in the rooms of recovery. What I found out is that wasn't the truth for me, not for you or the guy sitting next to you. You know, I don't want, it could be a trigger as well. Cannabis is addictive. I don't care who out there says it's not. It's addictive. Everything's addictive. Non-narcotics are addictive. Don't let them lie to you. Right. So in this moment of my life, here I am, you know, I started, you know, tampering back into CBDs, growing cannabis, doing everything, but I was afraid of it. And what I found out again is that it was what I absolutely needed. And the time I kind of found out about it, I was in the rooms. Once people found out what I was doing and who I was, they all, you know, I was the enemy to recovery. It was a horrible feeling. I couldn't get fit in. I felt like I didn't belong. I was told it's not my seat anymore. My clean time didn't fucking count.
Yeah.
This shit. I had a sponsor of 26 years, and he told me that my clean time doesn't count. And at the exact same moment of saying that, he opens up his pill bottle of opiates and pops a handful, right? And I'm like, man, the jigsaw is up. Yep. Like the gig is spent right now, and we are coming out on this podcast, and we're here to help and save and put this fine line amongst, you know, recovery, that consumption of cannabis in recovery is a thing.
Yes.
It's a thing. It is here. And there's a lot of us that keep getting kicked out of the rooms of recovery because of it. And it's not acceptable anymore. I own this fucking seat, and this is my seat, and I'm going to sit here and nobody's going to take it away. You know, and I'm not going to do the same thing to anybody else. Right. And so here we are, brother.
I think that when you say what you said and you hit it on the man, the nail on the head, man. We're not talking about this in the room. We're not talking
Correct.
about this isn't what we do.
This is great.
This what we do for our mental health, our addiction, our healthy living is what we do. And the recovery path for me, and it's important for people to understand.
Yes.
As much as everybody wants to believe in the cookie cutter, it's just not accurate. It's not. Everybody is different. Humans are different. Mm-hmm. And not everybody's going to recover the same. Yeah. And that's just what it is. Abstinence isn't for everybody. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not reality. It's just
not reality.
It's not reality. On a daily basis, we are overstimulated to the max.
By everything.
Every single thing. Yeah. Whether it be the coffee or the cappuccino we drink or the telephone that we pick up.
Real talk.
And we cannot set it down because the addictive personalities and the endorphins in our brain take over, and we're getting high off of those endorphins, man. We're getting high off all those little things. We don't want to talk about that, though. We want to talk about cannabis, right? Let's rewind.
Talk about it.
Exactly. That's the whole point.
That's the point.
That's the point is because as people don't understand is that we're demonizing something that's actually medicine that can actually help us with all those other things.
Amen.
But it's not for everybody, you know. And the reality is there's people that struggle with mental health that should never touch cannabis ever, you know. And a person that's coming in on the first 24 hours of recovery should not touch cannabis.
100%.
You know. But there's also a thin line that we have to talk about. There's the 30-year heroin addict that's trying to come off of drugs and who's trying to come off of Suboxone, who's trying to come off all these drugs that are supposed to be helping us, right? Xanax for anxiety. Like, give me a fucking break. Oh. You know? Like, give me a break. When I see somebody detoxing off of these hardcore drugs and they're using cannabis and then they're being ostracized because they're trying to get off with something else other than pharmaceuticals, I'm be the first person that says, you know, how dare you to say that to them? Because they've been shooting dope for 26 years and you're going to judge them for smoking cannabis that's helped them get off of it? There ain't no way. And I won't stand around and let that happen anymore.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Because the advocation for smoking, to be able to sit and have a conversation because some people have PTSD, that's real. You know, that's real. The life that I come from, I can't talk to you. I can't do this unless I medicate. And that's not because I'm less than. It's because I have PTSD. Where I grew up, people died every day, right in front of me, every day. Like, I seen it. I participated in violence every day. I'm not proud of that.
Yeah.
My brain is not wired like everybody else's, and not everybody is wired to go along with abstinence and 12-step program that says you cannot do this because we say it's wrong. it's just not realistic to me. Millions of people are going to be able to get the courage to say, I'm sober, and I'm smoking cannabis, and I'm being transparent about it, and I'm talking with my recovery network of people about this. There is a way to recover this way. And for them to think that there is not this group of people out there is rather arrogant, because there's a lot of us, and the part that doesn't sit well with me is that I thought in my head that I had to keep this a secret. That's the part that doesn't sit well with me. And it's not because I was tricked or anything. It was purely shame. It was because I wasn't supported. I wasn't supported in all of my recovery needs. I'm not just an addict and an alcoholic in recovery. I'm an addict, an alcoholic, a PTS survivor, a trauma survivor. Like, there's a lot of things that go with me that abstinence isn't going to help. And a pharmaceutical pill is not going to help me.
I know, man. This thing we have in society that there's a pill for everything now is such a racket and unfair. And I really want to touch on, I touched a little bit, you touched on it, in the rooms of recovery with newcomers. I go to meetings. I go to meetings out here in Arizona. I love my men's group every 7 o'clock in Gilbert every Sunday morning, man. And then I go to church after that. And I don't go to meetings and discuss cannabis. That's a no-no. That's not acceptable for me. I keep that completely out. And the number one most reason why, there's a few reasons, because I don't want to get in conflict and I don't want to offend anybody else who doesn't believe in it, and I respect that. But the most important thing is that you touched on it, the addict, coming into the room. So cannabis isn't for everything. You see it all the time, right? We had the pharmaceutical crave that came into the rooms.
Yep.
And everybody said, it's okay, you have anxiety, go get a script from your doctor, and that person's dead because of that. Yep. Okay, so I don't want to go down that line with cannabis, so I don't talk about cannabis. And cannabis is addictive, and that one person coming in the rooms that is detoxing off something that is, and he's coming in and is, trying to be completely abstinent, and he sees a cool guy like us, talking about cannabis is okay in the rooms. Next thing you know, he partakes and it goes back to fentanyl, is dead the next day. I don't want that on my conscience. So this is a very important topic, and I'm willing to own my share on it, and I'm willing to discuss it. But others out there in the rooms that are judging us right now, you help support the pharmaceutical industry in the rooms of recovery.
That's right.
We all played that ticket, right? We have our demons to unravel, right, in that sector of the rooms of recovery. And so it is something for me. So there is conversation and there is rooms. I've had a Green and Sober Facebook group for many, many, many years, and we'll put it in the comments on here, and everybody's welcome into that as well. Medicinally, there's a lot of talk about, what I am a real medicinal type of botanical individuals. I don't take sleeping pills to sleep, but I'll take botanicals, to react in lavenders, all this stuff, and so I'm a botanical guy and I like to use it. And there's no segregation in agriculture. And I'm going to say that again for you in the back of the room. There's no segregation in agriculture. Cannabis is a botanical. It shouldn't be treated any other different than a plant medicine. No way. And so let's let me ask you a couple other questions. You were the best part about this right here is when I talked to you about it, you actually wanted to come on the show before I think I even said it. Let's do that. Yeah. And I just want to go back to what you are actually putting on the line coming out here. So the value of what you're doing, you are a soldier for the rooms of recovery, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for me, it's not. Look, the cannabis has saved my life, but it's about people. It's about the people that we can help. Putting it on the line for me is look. You've said it so many times. Pioneers, we are pioneers in what we're doing. Yeah. And the legacy that I built for my family and my name it's built on one thing, and that's hope. And it's built on bringing hope to people. Yeah. And so for this person right here, me, my coming to terms with I need to say something and be a voice is solely because there's so many people that don't have the courage, but I'm trying to show them that you can have the courage just like we had the courage. Because I have been told that I wasn't going to do anything with my life. I was told that if I went down this path that there was nothing for me, nothing. And I've come from a property box and flip-flops.
Yeah.
All right? And I found all of that in the rooms of recovery. And I know what saved my life. The rooms of recovery saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
They saved my life. I knew where I needed to go. When I got out of prison and I didn't have nothing. I had flip-flops, clothes, and a property box. I went to the Alano Club in Prescott, Arizona. That's right. It's close to here.
Yep.
And I raised my hand and I said I needed help. Yeah. I just got out of prison. I don't know what to do. And, that's when my journey started. And because of that, the rooms of recovery, it brought me a new life. And I know that because of recovery, I'm able to go out and do anything I want. But there's a catch to that. I'm just like everybody else. And if I need medicine sometimes.
Yeah.
People need medicine. We have to come to terms with that. The problem with me is I'm an addict. And if you give me some anxiety medication such as Xanax or anything like that, I'm full-blown addict and I'm going to do drugs. Yep. I'm going to go full board. That's what I'm going to do. When I found cannabis, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that at all. And I didn't tell anybody. I was confused.
Me too.
I was very confused.
I know that, man.
Because everything that was instilled in me, everything that was hammered into me by people that I respected, I was basically living in fear. And I was told to go to the doctor and do things properly. But I was more afraid of that because I didn't want, I'm a drug addict, man. I was shooting dope at 14, guys. That's what I was doing. And you're going to give me some Xanax because of my anxiety? I'm going to be in the spoon by noon. That's the way we thought it. And that scared me. But when I smoked cannabis, it actually started with CBD. When I smoked CBD, I got relief.
Me too.
And then I smoked cannabis, THC, and I was like, I'm not angry anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not angry.
Man.
And the world I come from, okay, so in the rooms of recovery, they teach you to be this new human. And you turn the other cheek and you become a human being and you become kind and you learn the value of life and you just want to better yourself. Well, when I first came to the rooms of recovery, that's not the way it was for me. Okay, I was very angry. I had just gotten out of prison and I didn't know how to live life.
Yeah.
I didn't, and I was definitely living in fear, but I was like a wild animal.
Yeah.
Because my life that I grew up in was pure violence and drugs every day. That's what it was. So when I came to the rooms of recovery and found people that were willing to help me, just to help me, that alone scared me. But I was willing to take that step, but I could not get the clarity and freedom that everybody else had because I couldn't put my guard down. Because of the world I came from, I just couldn't. I couldn't do it, and I still live like that today. I'm 45 years old, and I've been out of prison for 14 years, and it's like that with me. I'm still institutionalized till this day. My wife tells me all the time all the things that I do, and that was the thing that I couldn't get over. When I first came to the rooms of recovery. I couldn't put it down. I couldn't trust my sponsor. I couldn't do it because of my head. It just wouldn't let it happen. When I smoked CBD and cannabis, I became like a sponge willing to try something new. Relax. That's what I was. Calm. I was able to take it in. And I was able to talk to you and not want to punch you in the face.
Yes.
And me and you laugh about that, but it's real.
It's real.
It's real. I'm 45 years old and I've been free for 14 years. And I will, in a second, revert back to my thinking and the way I used to be in seconds because of the imbalance that goes on. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what it is. But I know that cannabis takes that all away from me and I can have a conversation. I can help you. I can focus on the things that I was never able to focus on before, which is the solution.
Service.
What are you supposed to be doing in this world today? I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be helping others. That's my job. Yeah. When I had my spiritual awakening, he told me, you only got one thing to do. That's it. And that's just to serve just to do everything good. That's it. That's all I was supposed to do. I couldn't get to that without cannabis.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying that people need to go out and smoke cannabis. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we need to stop demonizing a plant. It's a plant, okay? We're the demons. We're the demons. We can make anything bad. That's the way we are. It's human nature. It's in us. That's just what it is. The plant is medicine, and it's up to us to do the work on our inner selves, to be able to manage our lives in a healthy manner. Some of us can't get to that without medicine. And this plant, it's a plant. This plant gets me to that place. But I spent a lot of years quietly struggling with, am I doing the right thing?
It's a hard place to be. That feeling of not being 100% fully honest with the peers around you, especially in the rooms of recovery, breaks a man down, and puts you out of the rooms, really, just not being able to, because of the afraid of what other people are going to say. And you know what? I have that experience. We have that. We have that in common, totally. And a lot of people listening right now are like, yeah, I understand exactly what they're saying on that. I mean, we don't have to live like that anymore, right? We don't have to live like that anymore. Just like me, just like him, you own your seat in recovery, and we support you. And if you partake in cannabis, that's okay. Be careful on, the surroundings. Think your thing through. If it becomes a problem and it's hindering your ability to live day to day on, then maybe you got to question yourself or tell your sponsor they're having an issue. Own yourself. So I wanted to add another thing on prison and recovery and meetings and H&I. I'm a full proud product of H&I.
Yep.
In San Quentin, it was very difficult. There was like 5 of us that would go to meetings, and you're almost looked at as weak to go to meetings, right? And I'm like, but I knew that out the gate by 8, in the spoon by 10, and back to the pen by 10 is a thing. And the revolving door, I watched over 86%. I'd see these guys come up. They'd come in with the prison stories, all the homies, and they'd have all these. They'd come in there. They'd have all these, in the yard working out. Their bodies are good. They're eating 3 hots in a cot, and then they get paroled, and they're back on a violation within 30 days, and they're fucking sucked up. Yeah. 60 days, it's over with, right? So the revolving door was a place. It was a safe place to stay, and you're coddled. I don't care what anybody says, man. You're coddled in prison, and it's a lifestyle. Prison's a lifestyle. H&I gave me the tools to get out of that and not repeat. And the story with H&I with me that's just profound is when, me going into meeting, I was so scared to parole. I didn't want to parole. And I ended up having a case in another county, and I paroled to that county. But the last meeting I did in San Quentin, the last few meetings I did there, I had a sponsor. He was a native guy, sweat lodging and all that stuff. And it was really cool on that. I did a 4-step in there. I wasn't able to do a 4-step because he said, you might tell me something that would incriminate you and I'd have to kill you. So we just threw it in a fire. Yeah. I didn't have to read it, And so I understand that. But getting out was a gentleman from Fremont Fellowship in the Bay Area in Fremont, California, where my recovery started and a lot of it. And I had a gentleman by the name of Galen, older gentleman, and he was the one bringing H&I, and I'd see him what a godsend. H&I is. I need to put more time in service into H&I for guys just like me. Yep. Galen said, when you get out, just get to a meeting, raise your hand. And say, my name's Patrick, I just got out of prison and I'm looking for a temporary sponsor. And I'm new, when they ask you rounds of a newcomer, and I did that. And I was bounced from county to county. They got in a halfway house. I was counties away from Fremont. I think I was in Cocoa County at the time. I was. And, it could be a meeting anywhere in the world, right? How many meetings are across, Northern California that I landed in? Thousands. And it was a morning meeting. It was crowded people. It was and I was scared to death, right? And I walked in there, did exactly thinking, Galen. I raised my hand, said, my name's Patrick. I need help. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. Just paroled, and I'm looking for a temporary sponsor. Out of any fucking meeting anywhere, in the back of the room, Galen stands up. Like, come on, man. God is divine.
God.
Like, God has the pathway built for us if we're willing to show the fuck up.
That's right.
So, hey, that's my introduction into H&I. So
I think it's the H&I is the biggest thing, because without them, we wouldn't have been able to have the message of recovery. We would have never known about it.
Yep.
You know, I remember doing the same thing as you while I was incarcerated. When I finally had my spiritual awakening, going to the meetings and the dog cages, and you're chained up, and you gotta and most of the people that are going to the meeting are just getting out of their cells, but I'm there trying. I'm trying, and I'm trying, and I think that without that, there's a lot of us that don't get this, and I don't lose sight of what really happened in my life, because in that moment when I figured out about recovery and AA and NA, and knowing that there's a whole group of people out there that just want a different life, that don't want to just be gangbangers, that don't want to just be bikers, that don't want to just be outlaws for the rest of their life. We want to be productive. There's something in us. I've known my whole life. Okay, I've known my whole life there was something about me that I had to give this world.
That's right, baby.
I've known it since I just known that there was something that I'm supposed to be doing.
Purpose.
And, those meetings woke that up in me.
Yeah.
And without them, I wouldn't be sitting here, And the rooms of recovery saved my life. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want it to stop saving my life, man. I don't want it to stop saving, because I started to get a resentment. And this whole lying by omission is still a lie by me. And that's why it's so important for me to come clean, because my intention wasn't to lie, but this whole persona was built around me that I didn't plan all of that, man. You know how I got on the, this is good. This is, and my friend John West, who gave me the opportunity, we're not real good friends anymore. We were on the forefront of this coaching thing and recovery business, and I got a lot of opportunities because of him. But this whole like life that I get to live today, and like it's because of recovery. They brought a meeting in, right? And I found recovery. All I did to get in this position with you right now, and helping people across the world, all I did was tell my story.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing else.
It's all about the story, man.
I didn't do anything else. You know how I got on national TV and millions of people got to know who I was? All I did was tell my story. Huh. That's it. I went into, and I learned how to tell my story in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I lost my fear of public speaking in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Me too.
You can put me in the middle of anywhere. Anywhere. You can put me anywhere. I don't care where it is. Millions of people staring at me, and I can talk to you just like this.
It's because of the rooms, baby.
And it's because of the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I haven't lost sight of that. But that built who I am today. I'm able to go anywhere and speak and talk. And that all happened just because I told my story. And it's eaten me up because my story hasn't actually been told. I've been telling what they built around me.
Right.
And it's my responsibility to say, wait a minute, I'm sorry. But cannabis actually saved my life. And the rooms of recovery is what opened my whole view into life being worth living. You know what I mean? Cannabis made me be able to be a human being and cry and be emotional and have conversations with my wife and okay with being wrong. I was not able to be wrong. And I was built up in the rooms of AA to live by these principles and do all these things, but I wasn't being honest.
Man.
I wasn't being honest. And
that's a load to carry.
I've been carrying it for a long time, and I know that I needed to carry it for a while, though.
Yeah, me too, man.
I had to get to this point so I can tell this story, because when I first started, it wasn't time. I didn't have. Look, everybody told me I wasn't going to make it. Everybody told me I was going to be a loser. My mom and dad told me I was going to be a loser. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel that.
My goals in life were to graduate and get to prison. Graduate the streets, not college and high school. And
exactly.
Like, I got my diploma twice while I was incarcerated. That's, superstar. But like, that was my life, and now I don't have to live that way. I had a 36-year sentence, man. And somehow, some way, I'm sitting here with you.
Huh.
Like, I remember what year I was supposed to be released. It's not now. It's still ways to go. But here I am. And I got that because of the rooms of fucking recovery, man. Like, the rooms of recovery are the only reason why I get to be a father. It's the only reason I get to be a husband. It's the only reason I get to be transparent and have a friend like you.
Yeah.
Like, I knew I wasn't the only one. We have other friends that we all got to talk about this, because we have other friends, and we're friends, and we haven't even truly met, but we're friends, all of us. And we all have this story. And there is millions of people out there way bigger than us that are struggling with this right now. Right now they're struggling with this. And they don't have to. Yeah. They don't have to. Shame causes a lot of bad things, man.
Relapse. I've felt it many times.
The biggest thing for me is the shame. If we can't get that out, we can't live, And thinking that we own the only avenue of recovery and it's called abstinence is absurd to me.
It's not abstinence when there's everything else that's in it except for what they tell you can't have. That's the hard. Man, it's like abstinence from recovery. We talk. People say CBD. I'm smoking CBD because it's not psychoactive. Bullshit.
That's right.
Psychoactive when your anxiety goes away, when you put your cell phone down and it's not, you don't need to pick it up because of how CBD makes you feel and it relaxes you. That's a psychoactive effect. So people tend to think that, if it doesn't, and everybody's scared of the THC or the cannabis side of this, when really, how does your pharmaceuticals make you feel? Like what is the hanging on hangover side effects, the not being able to shit, the you're having to wake up and you have to take them, the really just the addictive part of those, and they're telling you it's okay in the rooms of recovery. And I'm not saying by any means that it's not okay. Mm-mm. People need psychoactive meds. Right. Like, that is a for real thing. And if it works for you, that's great. But that is not abstinent.
That's right.
Right? So we need to really talk about the uses of what it is. For me, I don't drink alcohol. I'm not shooting dope.
That's right.
Okay? I'm good when I'm not doing that. The only thing that I am not addicted to is cannabis. I smoke cannabis to relax at the end of the day and put this entrepreneur head away because I will sleep with a tablet next to my bed and I'll wake up all night putting things in it if I don't. Right. Now, the opposite effect of what I was told is take, some sleeping pills or OD every night on even, Advil PM and all that. Those are all psychoactive effects. And so it's super important for me to know I am not addicted to cannabis. And if you are addicted to cannabis, this might not be the best thing for you.
That's right.
But for me, not being addicted to cannabis, I am definitely addicted to the cannabis hustle.
Absolutely.
Right? And so the hustle that surrounds cannabis, I'm all in. And what I've learned to do is hustle it instead of it hustling me.
That's right.
And in life, when you have those things, whatever you're doing for your hustle, everybody does a hustle in life. Just look at everything you do, and at some point, part of that's a hustle, right? Making extra income, whatever it is. That everything's okay. If it's an old lady knitting for extra money and selling hats, that's a hustle, right? So the hustle part is super important. To not let it control you. And for me, it doesn't control me. There was times in my life that cannabis hustle controlled me, right? It was the focal point, and it worked me instead of me working it.
Yeah.
And today I can gladly and honestly say that hustle for me has benefited in every boardroom in normal world in business, right? I walk in a boardroom and I got business sense, and then I got the hustle, right? The street hustle. Those combined, it's unstoppable. Once the hustle isn't hustling you, when you learn to hustle, it comes a disability, right? You make things an ability. When it's a disability, your red signs are up, and you know, we got any? Yes,
I got tons.
I know. So go ahead. I'm going to try.
It's funny when you say that. It's like, this is the thing I first thought of when you said that. Because of the rooms of recovery, because I found recovery, I know that my ingesting cannabis is not a problem.
Correct.
You know, and I know that because the rooms of recovery have turned me into a grown-up. That's what they did. It turned me into a grown-up. I have feelings and emotions now. Yeah. And you know what I can do with those feelings and emotions now? I don't do it perfectly. Ask my wife and my kids. You want to know how you're doing? Ask your kids how you're doing. They'll tell you the truth.
Honest, straight up.
They'll tell you the honest answer.
Yep.
But what I've learned is I'm able to do all the things that I do because the rooms of recovery taught me the responsibility of life. And I got this toolkit, spiritual toolkit. It's just, man, I carry this thing. Even when I don't look like I'm carrying it, I got it.
Every time.
But that has made and given me the ability to understand that I am an addict and an alcoholic for sure, and that cannabis is not my problem. It is not my, look, cannabis.
Drop the mic.
It is not, look, there is not one, yes, I went to prison because I had too much cannabis because I was in the hustle and I was uncontrollable.
It hustled you.
That's right. But I was also shooting methamphetamines and cocaine and
at
heroin. And I was doing all of these things that didn't coincide with it. And so that in itself shows how my life was just out of control. But that's not going on. My relapse does not consist of me, I'm going to roll a blunt and I'm going to go rob a bank. Okay? My sponsor told me, what does a relapse look like? He told me that a long time ago. You know, my first sponsor, what does a relapse look like to you? And when we were talking about the cannabis thing, Jack C. was my sponsor at the time. And he says to me, what does a relapse look like? And I thought about it, and I was like, wow, nowhere in there is marijuana. It's methamphetamines, it's guns, it's gangs, it's violence. But nowhere in there is it. Yeah. I rolled a blunt, and I went and robbed. That's not it. It's not it.
Super important.
It's important for everybody to understand.
Yeah, like, this is so important.
That is not what a relapse looks like in my head, being a methamphetamine, heroin, and yes, I'm an alcoholic too. So none of my relapses look like that. Yep. They look like the opposite, you know? Yep. So I don't struggle with that anymore. Yeah. But I want to talk about that for the people that do, so they can get that out there. Because I remember when I had to trust in a new way of life. You know, I remember when my sponsor, Jimmy R., took me out to Lookout Point in Prescott, Arizona to do my prayer. You know, we're going to let it all go. We're going to do the prayer right now, man. You're going to get on your knees. You're going to say this prayer with me. And this man drove me up into the mountains in Prescott, Arizona in his Acura. And I can't wait till he hears this because he's going to laugh. He actually lives here. Awesome. You know, he lives in Mesa. But he drove me up there in his AC. We used to call it the AC. And I actually ended up buying, that was one of my first cars. I bought it from my sponsor legally, you know. But he took me out to Lookout Point to do my third step prayer, you know. And I had to trust this man. And where Lookout Point, it's a cliff, and he wanted me to turn around and do a prayer with him and get on my knees. And I thought this man was crazy. I said, this guy's taking me out to the middle of this is my brain not on cannabis. This is what happened.
Yes. Right.
Like, I want to make this clear. I thought this man was going to kill me. I thought he was taking me, and we laugh about it now, and I can laugh about it, but I'm being serious. I thought this man was going to kill me, and I was nervous. I didn't trust the situation, but that moment is where my life shifted again, man. You know, and I did that, and I continued to change my life because of recovery. You know, I did. I became a responsible human being. And nowhere in that process was marijuana a problem, and it ever has been. So when I ingested marijuana, all the bad stuff that people talk about was just them talking. There was no bad anything.
Yeah, isn't that funny? That's real too.
It was all bad, just people shit talking with no evidence behind anything they say, just people running their mouths. And that's the biggest dangerous part about the rooms of recovery too.
Yeah.
You know, is we kill our young. That's what I call it. We just kill them. We shame them to death, and then we spit them. Oh, he's on Suboxone. He's been on Suboxone for this, that. He's still trying. I don't agree with it, but he's still trying.
Yeah.
But see, we shoot our own young.
Yeah.
You know, there's a better way. Why does it have to be Suboxone? Why aren't we talking about that?
Yeah.
Why are we feeding poison with poison?
Yeah.
You know, why are we choosing green and it's filled with pesticides?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we growing and doing things the way we're supposed to do, the way God meant it to be?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we doing that? But nobody wants to talk about that stuff because
do.
then I do because it dips into the pockets of those big timers, and that's the reason why they don't want to.
Bada bing.
But the truth and the reality is that's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why you went through every struggle you went through. People ask me, how did you know you were going to do what you needed to do? I don't. I didn't. I never did. It just keeps evolving, and I keep pivoting. I'm in the cannabis industry now. I'm in the recovery business as well. I help people for a living. How the hell did that happen? That's God. You can't tell me any other way. There is no other way. I fully believe in this and what we do, and I'm willing to put it all on the line because integrity means something to me.
Me too.
You know, I've lost it all and got it all back and lost it all and got it all back, and I'll keep doing it every damn time. And you know why I'll keep doing it? Because of the rooms of recovery.
That's right. Exactly right. The toolbox.
But I'm not going to do it the way they want me to do it. I'm going to do it the way that it works for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the part where we could save so many more lives if we were just a little bit more open-minded, you know, and thinking that we could change the world with love instead of hate, man. You know, like God.
You go to concerts. We go to these cannabis events and there's no fights, right? Remember the Emerald Cup, I was talking to all the cops that are doing security and there's like, I love you guys. There's never any problem. All the other shows that go on here, there's DUIs, there's fist fights, the after parties, the bars are getting closed down, there's guns being drawn. And cannabis is just that, man. It's a community of love, honor, integrity, and respect.
It really
100%. Is. And nobody can take that away from us. There's just nobody. You can try to capitalize on that, and people will do that, and that's okay too. But where it came from is a magic space.
That's right.
Really
what we're doing, what we're trying to do right now is create another magic space.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth.
We're sitting here bringing it out right now, giving a platform, building this platform because it is our life, and this is what it does. And you're in service.
If we don't talk about it and we're not the pioneers of it, the people that we don't want on it are the people that are going to take it over.
Yeah, talk about the pioneering, right? I always like to say, pioneering is difficult. I'm a pioneer. I'm an outlaw to a pioneer. You're an outlaw to a pioneer. You're this moment right here, you coming on this podcast with me. This is a pioneering moment. And in my past experience with pioneering, especially through, the community and Emerald Triangle and cannabis and everything I've done on the legacy side of business, pioneering is a lonely space, man. It's God's work. And God sees you, and other people don't respect the value you're putting into it. But the reward for pioneering comes is when you get through it. If you're willing, this is like God's work.
Yeah.
Break you down. What are you doing it for? I'm doing it for my passion and because I believe this is what I was put on this earth to do. Anything other than that getting in the way is me being part of that 99% of not ever falling and falling forward mentality. When you fall forward. And so the greatest moment of pioneering is when you pass through something and you turn around 5 years later, 3 years later, and the same people that were throwing daggers at you are asking for autographs and giving hugs. And at that moment, it feels really good, but it takes that hard work to get there. Right?
It just makes me think about... I'm doing this because I need that off of me, right? But I'm also doing this because I have I like to call them friends in the industry, the treatment world where I help people with mental health. I lost a lot of good relationships because of my views. And I know a lot of people were afraid of losing their income because they couldn't be honest. And I'm hoping that the professionals that I know do, I hope they can get the courage now to get clean about being clean, because that's what this is about. I'm high functioning. Like I'm high functioning. I don't sleep 4 hours.
Right.
I'm up.
I get you on the phone.
Like,
You and I
I'm
talk.
ready to go.
Yeah,
like,
it's high function.
It just goes, and I'm able to do that on cannabis.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, everything that I do. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't sit around to smoke and ha ha ha. Like that'll happen, of course, but that's not what I'm doing it for. Like I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it.
We don't have a bong on the table. We're not blowing bong hits out here.
At all.
That's not what this is about. This isn't that vibe.
This is
at
that.
all.
It takes you to this place to become this high functioning human, man.
Yeah.
And that's what it's done for me. And I'm hoping that this is courage to do this. You know, 100%. This takes courage. Yeah. And I'm hoping that they will thank me, but then they will feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
You know, because this is for them because I can lose a whole stream of income because of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. That's okay because it's for others. And it's because if I don't do it, then some other piece of shit might do it.
Wow. Yes.
And I'm not in this for that, man.
Yeah.
I'm in this to help other people. Sure, I want nice things like anybody else to have a good time in life. Sure. But I want this to bring relief to people. That's what I want. I want to be able to sit in a room and somebody say, that's Michael Gonzales right there. Man, he made things different for somebody.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want somebody to say, you remember Michael? God, what a fucking asshole that guy was. Yeah. I had so many friends in the room, in the recovery business that were my dear friends that loved me, that praised me, and none of them talk to me anymore. And they all think I'm on this relapse, and they all think I'm out there doing all this shit. I have gotten nothing but better in my life. Even during all the downfalls of bad things that happen in life. My trajectory has always been up. And I don't want that for people. I don't want nobody to go through that. That was hard. Only I could take that. Only you could take what you've taken. You know that, right? Like everything that we have been through. I don't know how I
took and what I've taken.
We're the only ones. That's why God has picked us for this. He has picked it because we're built for this.
We're built for this, baby.
It's not because we're special. We're built for this. We're supposed to do His work.
Built for this.
That is what we're supposed to be doing. It's not for ego. It's not for pride.
No.
It's because I was built to be of service.
Amen.
That's what I'm here for.
Amen.
Anything that comes with it is a bonus.
100%.
The relationships I get to have today, look at me on paper. I am not a guy that's supposed to be sitting here talking with you.
Yeah,
I'm an animal.
Guy sitting here having
I'm an animal. I'm exactly what people think that I am when they see me. Yeah. That's what I was. And you know what I am today? I'm not. I'm a loving, caring man that just wants to make people happy, man. That's it. And I want to live and smile and laugh and not worry about anything else anymore. Like I want to be happy. That's it. That's all I want. I want my kids to know that their dad did something good, did something right with his life. Not he fought for something that didn't matter.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing too, is my family, we're a traveling family, man. We homeschool our kids, me and my wife. Without my wife, Gabriella, like there's no me. My wife I have been through, the last 5 years of my life has been something else, man. You know, a pain. Just of pain, but there's the joy of pain too.
Yeah.
You know, and she has walked through this walk with me, and she can be the first person to tell you how many people I've lost along the way because I'm standing up for what's right. I believe this with all of my everything, and she has watched the nights, the days where I have cried, sat alone, not knowing what was going to happen. Leverage this to make this work over here. Like, she's watched me go through all of it, and she's not lost faith in me one time. One time. And the journey that we're on as a family, like if you ask my kids who their daddy is, they're going to tell you who he is. My daddy's, that's my hero. Yeah. You know what that does for me?
Man, it's great, bro.
Like, my wife sent me, before we got here to the podcast, my wife sent me a picture of my son, and he's got long hair like me. And he's starting to part it down the middle. And he's starting to be like daddy. Yeah. And he wanted my wife to send me that and say, hey, he wants you to know that he looks just like you right now. And he wants you to know that. I'm an animal. Like in my brain, I'm an animal. That should have never happened to me. You know what I mean?
Bro.
But because I got recovery, because I found a new way to live, because I became open-minded to being wrong.
I mean, that's it.
I get this life. I get it. I get to. The get-tos, man. Like, I don't have to do life. I get to do life, man. You know what I mean?
My youngest son, PJ, Patrick King Jr., Soil King Jr., he's known as, he came visit me last week. He's 19. And he's telling me he got a tattoo. And he pulls up his sleeve, and it's the Phoenix, same tattoo I got on me. Right? If the moment that I seen that, I knew that I'm doing something right.
Absolutely.
If my son values me that much to continue the legacy, even with because the story of the Firebird on my arm is totally different than a lot of stories, because it has my meaning to it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm doing something right.
Yeah, man.
And
for guys like that, for guys like us, that means the world.
Yeah, it means the world.
The world. You don't
want to be like your dad. Like, come on, man. I can't believe it. My child would want to be like me anyway.
I go back to thinking about what my life was. Yeah. My life was cell 13, 1345 77. That was me. And that was
K number in San Quentin.
That's what it was.
I was ago. Yeah,
all I was supposed to be a number. Yep. And because some people in my life and because of the rooms of recovery, I got to tell my story to millions of people, and millions of people accepted me. And I want them to accept me for who I really am now.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And I know they will.
Yeah.
I know they will. I'm not in fear of losing anything. I'm not. I want people to love me and know me for who I really am, And I think everybody should be able to be genuine like that and transparent like that with people. We shouldn't have to be in fear.
This is good on you. This podcast.
I feel really good right now.
Me too. I feel good.
Like I needed. We've sat here and talked, and it's taken nothing to do it.
I wanted to say, we talked a little about the toolbox and how important the toolbox of recovery has been in my life. Through relapse, 10 years, a couple 6s, a couple 4s. That I've always been able to get back into the rooms because of what the rooms gave me in that toolbox. It always gave me, okay, well, maybe I'm out of control, and there's a destined option for me that has worked in the past, and I've seen it worked in a lot of other lives. And it goes back to, in every single situation of my life, I play the principles of recovery. Right? It's very easy for me, and any problem comes my way, the tool is the first 3 steps. It's I can't, he can, I think I'll let him. And I play that in over and over in every scenario. If I'm like frustrated, I can't. I can't pick up that alcohol. I can't do those drugs. I can't. I can't stop it. Right? I can't. He can, and then letting it go.
Yep.
I'm gonna follow him, grabbing the belt loop. Right, in every avenue, and then go back. I wanted to throw a shout out there from my sponsor now. I'm on step 1. I just finished step 1 again in the NA guidebook, right? And it feels great. And applying it in my life again and redoing the steps in your life over and over and over is different meanings. You don't even have to apply them towards drugs and alcohol.
That's right.
You apply them towards everything else. And I got Fremont Frank, right? Frankie M I've known him for 40 years, and I've watched him in and out of Narcotics Anonymous. We're built by Narcotics Anonymous. Our early recovery is Narcotics Anonymous. We did everything together back in the day, and he ended up going to federal prison and I used to give him shit because I was a convict and I had a real prison number and he didn't, and he went in for, what is that? What do they do? Observation, where they go you in for 7 days and kick you out. I forget what the word. And I used to give him, you're not a convict. And then he ended up in federal prison, right? For I'm not gonna throw his shit out there, but watching him in his life to where he is at now with the woman he has is my sister, and not my sister, but my sister in recovery, somebody I really respect, and watching them and when I asked him, I said, bro, I need you to be my sponsor. He was taken back. He's all, but you're big. You're like this figure. I'm like, oh, you know me. I can't lie to you. You know every in and out of my life. I have to be honest because you call me on it. I need that person to walk me through that. And he says, I still can't believe it's an honor. And, I'm here, and again, it's about work. Once you're an addict, you don't stop becoming a fucking addict, right? You just don't, right? When the hard part for me is when we say we do recover, but do we? Honestly, if I don't recover if I don't stop working the principles of recovery. I don't recover.
That's right.
Right. When I don't, I relapse.
That's right.
Facts. Right. So, yeah. Anyways, this is great. You want to add anything? How can people get a hold of you? Let's talk about, we haven't really dove into it, but we're going to be doing podcasts and bringing people on, and we're going to build this thing out inside and outside the cannabis space, in the recovery space. We're going to bring it to the world. We want to be part of a team that helps stewards of God. I'm stewards of, our manifestation got us to where we're at today. Tomorrow's going to be great. We're going to save lives because of it.
I look, man, there's a lot that I want to say, but we're going to have plenty of time to talk about more. But the way to get a hold of me is simple. I'm on social media. I'm all over social media still.
Just go to my social media and see him too. Likewise, his or mine, you find us both.
You'll find me. I'm there. Mm-hmm. The easiest way to get a hold of me is on social media. Send me a DM. I answer.
You do answer.
I respond to everybody because that's my job and that's what I'm supposed to be here doing.
My mentor, it's funny. I see Greg Reed's my mentor, right? He's changed my life. And I got sponsors. I got mentor. Yes. You know what I mean? This is what you need to be successful in life. You got to be called out by the people around you that know you. But Greg, it's really awesome because he's 36, 37 years in recovery. He's not green and sober. And that's okay. He accepts me for who I am. And he's working me on the whole business side and motivational and teaching me how to really help other people in different areas. And it's all coming together with a whole coaching atmosphere of all this. So
I think that's the main thing that's coming of this for both of us.
Yeah.
Is we're green and clean and we're taking a stand for it.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that my history can bring everybody back that needs to come back into my life so we can be transparent with them, but also it's to talk about what's going on. This leads to many other avenues of our life that we can be helping so many more people, and that's the thing.
So, and you talked earlier on something that, we don't have a whole lot of time. We got to wrap it up just real quick before we wrap it up. We're highlighting on what the recovery scene really is and how it's a pay to play.
Yeah.
Right? They're stealing money from people at their weakest moment.
Yeah.
And so we're going to change that.
That's something that I really want to talk to on this at some point is because, I work in a field where we're supposed to be helping people, and a lot of times what I see is we've taken advantage of a lot of people, and we help people that are scared for their lives, and we sell them a bill of goods that's actually not what we're selling them. Because nothing is guaranteed in recovery. Nothing is guaranteed in sobriety. We are not God. It all depends on the person's space and how they feel, if they can be honest about who they are in their recovery. And for me, being able to really look at this stuff, and talk about it and open the doors just for more conversations about more serious things that need to be spoke about. Because the industry that I work in, we're supposed to be saving lives. That's what we're supposed to be doing. In my opinion, we're probably killing a lot more than we're saving.
Well, this is just this podcast built for this. You're definitely built for this. This podcast built for this is, we're going to do a lot of good things here. So thank you for everybody coming in. Like we just touched on a little bit, like this is, this is nothing what the conversation that needs to happen. We need to do Q&A with people who don't believe. It's really important to sit and sit in here with me and talk about the yin to the yang. If you don't believe in this, we need to get the conversations out. People need to understand they have a choice, and we have to make sure that the newcomer's safe. It's just the way it is. So, if you, for those that are with us, you're with us, and for those that are against us, you're with us too, man.
That's right. That's right.
So let's build this community and keep moving strong. So thank you for coming in, man, and traveling and jumping on a plane. This is better than the other studio where, we're on a Zoom meeting. This is the live room. So it's you're going to be back here.
I look forward to coming back, and I look forward to seeing this room a lot more times.
And we're going to take some of this on the road. We're definitely going to be taking this on the road.
I want the world to know, I'm ready to have the conversation. I'm not ready to argue with you. I'm ready to have the conversation, because my choice to come out about this is purely because it's going to bring hope to others.
Yeah.
It's not to argue with you.
Me neither.
It's not what it is.
Me neither.
Okay, there's people that shouldn't smoke, and there's people that should. Let's talk about it. That's what I want the world to know.
Amen. All right, Built For You podcast. On the next one, be ready. If you're built for this, if you're not, keep working towards that goal. Love you guys. See you on the next one.